Tim.
Yes.
What's your topic?
Is exercise worth it? I've been struggling with this my entire life. I've always been like, nope, it's not. Still thinking it's not.
Yeah?
But
you're not fat.
I know, but I'm not thin. I'm also
You're not fat?
I'm not fat. That is for sure, right?
Sure.
And I feel like as my life has progressed, I've only gotten more not fat.
Right.
You've gotten further away from skinny, but not fat, closer to fat.
A big thing for me is I realized, it's not until you look at old pictures of you, or in this case, old videos of you, where you're like, oh shit, like I looked like that. And then the crazy part is I remember how I felt at that moment and feeling like I was not fat then. You know what I mean? And I remember being like, man, I remember being like, not thrilled about my body image at that point. And now I'm like, well, shit, compare this to this. And it's like, if that guy could think about this guy, he'd be appalled, And I feel like that just keeps happening. And I keep having my like comfort level just keeps slipping a little bit more and more.
But you keep letting
that way. And I just keep letting it because it's fun and because I enjoy it.
Sure.
I like food. I like not
Sleep.
doing things. Yeah. So it's like, it's hard.
Sure.
But I'm also comfortable with it.
Right.
So that's the thing.
I think that's the thing, finding your comfort level.
So it's hard for me to wrap my head around people enjoying exercise.
Sure.
But as I get older, I feel more and more people do. Like they genuinely enjoy running or genuinely enjoy doing this. I'm not talking about people that are into sports. They're into sports. I get that. That's I don't even count that. It is exercise, but that's different. I'm talking about people that are like, I'm just going to go to the gym. I'm just going to work out. And unless you're that obscene Alfredo level of like, I like looking good. This is the point of my existence.
Sure.
Like just being a normal motherfucker like one of us. I can't imagine enjoying doing that stuff. Like there's the kids back in high school that did the track and field and like
these cross country fucks.
Yeah, whatever.
Let's go run in the woods.
They grew up and who knows
what
the fuck they're up to, but they're weird. They're the weird.
Very weird.
motherfuckers.
Agreed.
But I'm talking about the normal people like us.
Yeah.
What are we supposed to do, man? Am I supposed to not enjoy ice cream?
No, I think you're supposed to enjoy it in moderation and then do something so your heart doesn't die. Yeah. That's what I think. You said, your question is exercise worth it? Probably, right? It adds years to your life. You're not going to die of a heart attack. You're not going to sweat when you shouldn't be sweating. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the thing that hurts me the most is...
Lay it on me. You're in a safe place.
I feel way better when I do exercise.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I want to make sure I put quotes around
What do the quotes mean?
Because people talk to me and they're like,
what do you mean by exercise?
Tim, you should run, right?
You don't.
And I'm like, all right, well, I'll do that. And it's like their idea of running is like...
Is this Gia?
Well, yeah,
people
it's
talking
Gia,
to you?
my girlfriend,
Okay.
and also my friend. Like just people in the, like, I don't know, normal people my age. It's not even just people that like, Gia, her thing is fitness. She likes that shit. So
Sure.
it's like, all right, cool. I'm talking about just normal motherfuckers. Like they have day jobs and shit. And like, they're like, I ran 3 miles today. And I'm like, wow, I've never ran 3 miles in my life.
Sure.
Like, when's the last time I ran a mile? High school, when I had to. And back then, I ran a pretty fast mile. Now, if I had to run a mile, probably wouldn't be that fast.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I could. But when people are like, oh, you should try running. And I'm like, all right, I'll do that. I'm running to my limits, which pretty much means I ran for about a minute and a half. As far as that got me,
Sure.
that's how far I ran.
But that's
And
exercise.
if I were to keep it going,
Yeah.
I could probably get it up to a good 3 minutes. You know what I mean? But like, I just can't imagine the guys that are like, I ran an hour today. Holy shit.
Yeah. So, I mean, it depends on a lot of factors, right? Everyone's body is different. So what's good for you might not be good for Colin, might not be good for Greg or me, for sure.
What's good for the goose is good for the gander. I
Might
still don't
not
know
be
what
good
that
for the
means.
gander. I don't know what it means either. I also don't know.
What's
cancer
good for
the tree
one
the
goose is
forest
good
either.
for the entire gander.
Right. So that's certainly not the case as far as nutrition and exercise are concerned, right? Look at the different body types between you and me, right? You are taller than me. You are naturally skinnier than I am. You have
I don't know.
You are. I have a natural, more squatty frame. We just have different body types, right? And Colin has a very different body type to me, and Greg has a very different body type to me. So I don't know necessarily what level of exercise versus like what level of like intensity for exercise would work better for his body versus for mine. But what I do know is that if you have to have one or the other, and generally paired together, they're the best. But proper nutrition by far is much more impactful to your health than exercise, as far as my experience has been concerned. Now, I don't mean, when I say exercise, I'm not talking about running for an hour, because I don't necessarily, I've never been that kind of person. If that's you and that's what you want to do, to each his own, go for it. I don't think you need to run for an hour every day to be quote unquote fit. I don't think you need to run for an hour every day to be healthy. If that's what you want to do and you get you're inspired by sort of the milestones of that, great. Fantastic. If you're not noticing any bad things happening to your body, like muscle loss or any of that stuff, go for it. Cool. But I think a lot of nutritionists and a lot of personal trainers will say, there's one adage that stuck with me, which is abs are made in the kitchen. So if you want a six pack, the number one thing everyone's going to tell you is you gotta make sure you're on the right diet for that. Otherwise, you're just not going to burn any fat. You'll gain muscle from some of these exercises, or in some cases, if you're going really, really hard as far as exercise is concerned, and you're not doing it correctly, you're not backing it up with proper nutrition, you might actually go into your muscle reserves and start burning muscle. And that happens to a lot of marathon runners. That's why marathon runners tend to be really, really skinny, because after a certain point, they've burned through all the fat and all the carbohydrates that are in their system, and their body goes, I need something else. Let's take muscle. Let's burn that.
I once read a Maxim article about this marathon runner, and he would get pizzas delivered to him while I ran.
Yeah,
I thought that's the fucking life. So I started doing that, just not without the running.
But so that's awesome. That's great. No, I'm glad you got one part of it down, and that's what I would tell you, Tim. Like, for me, I struggle with this too, because I go in bouts of like, I'll work out 5 days a week and feel really good about myself, and it does alter your mental state.
And so that's kind of what I was
all
saying.
These great hormones and endorphins and all these things that kind of keep you going motivated in a very positive way.
Running, and like when I do run or I do like lightly work out, I've never been to a gym once in my life. But like I'll go in bouts where I'm doing push-ups and sit-ups and running a little bit and whatever for my 1.5 minutes. And like it sucks. Doing it sucks. It hurts. I don't understand how people can enjoy
Real
it.
quick time out. Do you run a minute and a half from the house, stop, and walk back?
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Well, but that's the other thing too, is you don't necessarily need to go. You don't need to start at running. For you, I would, if I were, again, I'm not a personal trainer, but for you, I would say, look at what you've done in just cutting soda out of your diet. You lost weight, right?
Yeah, that shit, and that's
you're
the
eating
thing,
a salad
with
with healthy greens and protein on top of it, and guess what happened?
It does suck.
You lost weight, but you probably feel better.
So that's the thing. I don't feel better really in terms of like cutting that stuff out. The feeling better comes from after the excruciating pain of running and like doing shit. It's the day after. Everything hurts a little bit, but then it's the day after that where I'm like, I feel better. I definitely feel better. And that pains me to say, because I wish that wasn't true.
Well, no, but again, that's your body sort of rebuilding itself and building muscle and increasing flexibility, increasing, cardiovascular activity. You do feel when you work out your body, it allows your body to actually work better. And that's the thing, when you build muscle in the right place and you build strength and you build flexibility and all those things, you do feel better, because your body literally, the car's actually working better. So guess what? It can go faster. It burns less fuel to go faster and farther. And that's what your body does as well. But you don't have to go to these extremes. I don't believe that most people do, like when you have friends that are marathon runners or a jog, or like friends that have to do these intense sports every day. Like, I don't think you need to do that in order to be quote unquote healthy.
Well,
and fit.
Like I was saying,
for you, I would just say walk.
Yeah,
start
walking.
I
walk a lot.
Yeah, go for a 20-minute walk
with
with Gia, at night. Well, when you're with her, go for a 20-minute walk at night with her, right? Maybe a 30-minute walk. You talk, you walk at a brisk pace. It's great for you.
Yeah, I'm down with the walking.
Right.
I can walk forever.
And then pick 1 day a week or 2 days a week where you try something a little harder. But I can tell you this, when it comes to lifting or any of those more like aerobic or anaerobic style like exercises, they get easier the more you do them.
Exactly. And
then you get the appreciation for going, oh man, I couldn't lift that last week, but I can lift it this week. That's weird. Am I feeling better, or do I just have
what are these
more
muscles?
Mass, right? Can I just feel like my wife finally, after a long time of me sort of asking her to do this with me, started doing more strength training with me. And I think this is incredibly important for women, because the one thing women don't do is they don't do strength training most of the time, right? They'll if you look at the most traditional quote unquote women activities, it's like yoga, spin, jogging, but it doesn't really have a lot to do with training your upper or lower body in these big muscle mass groups. And you get a lot of benefits from that. And so my wife started doing that, and she has like fallen in love with it, because she can see definition in her muscles, and she's feeling the strength. And like, for every pound of muscle that you put on yourself, or I don't know the ratio, it takes that much more for your body to burn to sustain that, right? Mm-hmm. So if you pack more muscle on, your body physically has to work harder to keep that muscle on, which means if you do it right with nutrition, it has to burn fat to do that. And so she's seeing that cyclical benefit from it, of eating well gives her more energy to go work out, and she works a little harder, which burns more fat, which makes her feel good. So she'll eat well, and she'll keep going and spiraling. And finally, she's at a point right now where she looks better than she's ever looked. And I've been with her for 8 years. Now I've always thought she was beautiful, but I look at her now, I'm like, I'm so proud of you and all she does is she does spin once a week, yoga twice a week, and like lifts once a week. And then we walk a lot. We just walk a lot. We have this weird little like, we just are constantly moving, constantly just burning calories here and there, which I think is good for you, you know. But that works for us. Again, maybe you just need to get into kickboxing and do kickboxing 6 days a week and shred your abs and get flexible.
That was when I was fittest.
But that's because you probably spent an hour playing that game every day.
Exactly.
And you burned like 400 calories, and then you're like, shit, I need to go replenish this with, you know, lean protein and some good fats.
I
and
probably did that. Yeah,
and like
that's
minimal carbs.
The number one at McDonald's is, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, you're
can I
lucky
get
right
the
now.
Signore's lean fat, good protein pizza?
But I've seen it in all of you. I've seen when you guys make the concerted effort, especially in call, where like you make the concerted effort, you're going to get up, you're going to work out, you're going to, you know, try to eat a little healthier, do all this stuff. It works. It really does work. Like there's not a ton of magic to it. Like when I'm up late at night, like I was last night, just whittling through a fucking log of cheese. I'm like, I know this isn't good for me. I probably shouldn't be doing this. I should stop doing this. But it's episode 6 of the X-Files, and it's not very good. And I just want something to be good in my life right now. So here we go.
The cheese is the
Just
answer.
destroy that Calorie Jack. But anyway, that's my recommendation is I would do nutrition first.
Sense.
Make sure you got your diet on lock. And
I'm
then
trying.
slowly
I'm
but surely work
trying
in
a
some
little
exercise.
bit with that. It's hard. It's not really that hard. It's just hard in the sense of I wish that good food came easier. You know, it's so easy to get not good food.
Yeah.
And I just wish I want to pay someone to just fucking give me shit and deal with it.
They
You can do
that
that.
literally happens.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
there's
can
a lot
do
of
that.
places.
Well,
you
let's
can
make
get
that
your food
happen.
delivered.
I don't want to pay hell though.
Munchery, yeah,
No.
there you go. Yeah.
See, I need substance though. I don't want them coming with the
It's
got the
bullshit-
lean
bullshit little
proteins.
like, you know.
The greens
Here's like
and the
3
lean
leaves and whatever.
proteins.
That's why the Starbucks like salad things I get, I'm all right with because like there's at least a fair amount of leaves that I'm eating.
Seeing as how lunch seems to be the hardest thing around here, we just end up Marnie Thai all the time. We should we should do Munchery.
I would totally
I
do
would
that.
get down to Munchery, just have them bring meals here. We don't have to worry about.
I would do it because when you said, recently I've been tracking a lot.
We aren't sponsored by Munchery, by the way.
We are not. That'd be amazing for it. But recently I've been tracking all of my nutrition, like everything that goes into my body and all my macros. And I'm actually getting to the point where I'm trying to look into like what fats I'm getting in my diet and things like that. And it's very, very surprising that on you know, when you look down at the minerals and vitamins that you're supposed to have and it says X amount of percentage out of 100%, the vast majority of people in the United States never hit those levels every day. And those things are what rebuilds all of your cells, which rebuild all your muscles and all your brain tissues and all these things and help your body to function. And so if you're not getting those things, your body's just not running to its fullest potential. And you don't get those things from French fries or from, you know, all the shit that's good to eat. You just don't. You don't get as much of them from them, right? You don't get a lot of vitamins and minerals from your standard McDonald's.
I mean, you know what really
meal.
sucks? That bananas are supposedly not the best thing for you.
They're
Like,
very high
I fucking love
in
bananas.
fructose.
I would eat 1,000 bananas, and that's a problem.
they're
You're not
great to
supposed
you.
to do that.
Well,
Didn't know that.
If you're potassium deficient, then they're a pretty good source of that. But the problem is a lot of those fruits that we love have a little too much natural sugars in them, too much fructose, and so
Goddamn
those
bananas.
those can overdo it. But again, it depends on what diet you're working. For you, just look at your calories.
Yeah.
And this is what I always tell anyone that's trying to lose weight, on the get go. You don't have to go crazy with it. Just if you're severely overweight or if you need help, either go to a nutritionist or download an app where you look at your calories and log them. And you will just be astounded most of the time. I was fucking astounded. I went from 220 to 190 just by logging my calories every day and going, oh my God, that meal. And you got to be honest with yourself. You can't fucking be like, maybe it was only like a half an ounce when you had a whole fucking jar of mayonnaise or something like that. But look at the calories you're ingesting and you'll be astounded by how fucking far off the map you are. If you're on a 2,000 calorie diet, try to limit yourself to that. Try. And then when you go to places, just try to pick the healthiest thing you can possibly find on the menu.
Yeah.
Generally, it's going to be a salad. Sorry, I hate to burst everyone's bubble. It's usually a giant salad. Get the dressing on the side and just dip it in.
Well, I mean, it's all baby steps, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's what he's doing with Coke right now, but it's as simple as like, you know, I remember when I moved over to yogurt for breakfast, right? Because I was like at IGN, I was like, maybe I'll do a breakfast burrito. I've been going across the street all the time, right? Breakfast burrito, maybe a bagel, maybe this yogurt, you know what I mean? And I was like, man, I really like yogurt. And I'm like, well, yogurt's actually probably good for you, right? You look and you're like, oh, this is good for you. I was like, well, fuck, I'll do something for my body and replace that one meal with just yogurt, right? And then you lose weight off of that. I'm like, oh, that was cool. And it's the same thing with lunch, right? Like, have a healthier lunch and then do whatever the fuck you want at dinner. Fuck right off at dinner.
Sure. Or I mean, yeah, and that's a perfect place to start, right? Like, I'm not one of those people that you're going to find on YouTube was like, here's how you get fucking shredded abs. If I could figure
They're
that
watching
out,
this video right now.
it'd be amazing, right? But I'm just talking about feeling good about yourself and trying to have some sort of system that works for you, where you can lose weight and feel good, and that's it. I mean, I'm not talking about like, obviously, I'm not someone who should be talking about bodybuilding or any sort of like extreme athletic.
We already
activity.
showed your muscle before this.
Yeah, great. Everyone's like, this guy doesn't know what he's fucking talking about.
No,
And
show
sure, I
them. Show them in
probably
case
don't.
they joined late. Show the muscle.
I'm not going to show
Show the
them
muscle.
No,
Guys, look at this thing he's got. Now watch it. No, but do it, because it goes like an ice cream. Do it.
This is embarrassing.
You're my sweet baby boy. Show your auntie how strong you are, Nikki.
So wait, okay, let's go back to this yogurt thing for a second.
Sure.
Because I feel like the yogurt is one of those banana tricks where I really like yogurt. Can I eat yogurt?
No, not the kind of yogurt you like. You can't have
What
yogurt
yogurt
that
are you
has
eating?
like fruit syrup shit in it. He was eating Greek yogurt with probably some granola in it.
Yeah.
I mean,
put
no,
granola,
that's,
yeah.
I like that shit. When
I
it's
have
just-
fruit in it. Am
when
I
it's just
bad? Is my yogurt bad?
No, I mean,
Is my yogurt?
Yeah, I mean, again, it all depends. It depends on what kind of diet you're trying to do. If you're just doing a diet where you limit calories and limit fat, which is the predominant conventional wisdom of like how you're supposed to lose weight, which is very much like debatable. Yeah, you can have a yogurt. It's better. It's probably better for you in that instance than a
Breakfast burrito.
breakfast
whatever.
burrito with a ton of cheese and bacon on
That's
top
the
of it.
thing is like, you know what I mean? You're talking about diet and being very serious and counting calories and all this stuff. I'm just talking about replacing a meal you know to be bad with something that's not.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's all it is.
But
really.
those, okay, so I'm talking about those yogurts with the little flip top thing that has the granola. And then you put the granola in. Maybe there's like some blueberries and shit.
No, I mean the thing
it
about
the Starbucks
Well, what's that? What's the no?
I think you're talking more about like Yoplait and stuff like that.
No,
No,
I'm
he's
not.
talking about
I'm
like
talking about the white yogurt.
like the Fabergé yogurt, or the stuff that has like the
The stuff like at Starbucks, they have those like
So-
in the
But
fridge.
see,
No,
Starbucks
those
has all
aren't-
the jams and jellies in it, and that's when it gets different, doesn't
Well,
it?
also that's this.
I love the. Don't get me wrong. They got that sweet cherry one. Oh, doctor.
As you know, I'm not a huge fan of like carbohydrates. I don't. My body doesn't do well when I have excess amount of carbohydrates in it, just because I tend to gain weight. That's just me. Might be different for you. But if I were you, I wouldn't mess with the granola because it's probably just got a lot of sugar in it. And the problem with sugar, there's a lot of problems with sugar. The problem with sugar in very layman's terms is that it spikes your blood sugar. You'll burn through it real quick, and then you're like, fuck, I'm hungry again. Right. And then you want more of that. And it also tends to be a little bit more caloric than natural normal food. So if you want to have the yogurt by itself, yeah, it's high in protein. I think it has some good fats in it. I don't know which yogurt you're eating, but when you add the granola on top of that, you're just getting all that good stuff with just a punch of fucking sugar. And it might be sweetened with honey. I don't know. But still, that's a lot of sugar that your system probably doesn't need on a daily basis.
Yeah.
You know, in reality, what you'd probably be better off is make yourself a couple eggs with some spinach and some vegetables mixed in. But I know I can looking at your face, that sounds terrible, right?
I mean, no, I'm okay with that. I want to
Yeah.
make it. That's my thing. Is I ain't trying to.
I mean,
make all
that's
that shit.
my problem
I
too.
don't got time for that.
I wish there
I'll
was
cook you omelets.
Yeah, you can cook you
I
an omelet.
appreciate
Cameron.
that.
Is
Yeah,
omelet
like-
is an omelet good for you? That can't be good for you.
Omelets sound
Omelets
bad
are
for
too
you.
delicious.
I love
You put
omelets.
cheese in that? That can't be
Well, it
good for
depends
you.
what you put on it. If
Olive oil?
Olive oil is great for it. It depends on what diet you're on. So I'm reading a book about high fat, moderate protein, low carb diets. It's like a ketogenic diet, which would be traditionally considered a low carb diet, like an Atkins diet or a South Beach diet or any of these other things. But it's always sort of a trend that's happening, and I like to keep up on it because I like to eat low carb. And one of the things they say is, the conventional wisdom of low fat, high carb diets is being challenged right now, largely because if you look at the obesity rate in our country, or actually in the world, it's not decreasing, it's rapidly increasing. And a large portion of that, a lot of people contribute that to the fact that people tend to eat too many carbs. They tend to overeat carbs. It tends to be the things that when you think, oh man, I just want something good. What is it that you
Bread.
think of?
You want something bread-based, yeah.
Burrito, something that's good, right? And so a lot of these guys
don't have carbs. There's no bread.
burritos have a lot of carbs. So a lot of these guys. So this book I'm reading right now, which is really fascinating. It's called the Primal Blueprint. I heard about it on another podcast that I listen to a lot. But
Joe Rogan.
Yeah, it's Joe Rogan's podcast.
Of course
yeah.
it's Joe
So he
Rogan.
talks to a lot of fighters.
God,
and they
man
talk.
crush on this man.
I do have a man crush on Joe Rogan. He knows it. I stalk him at night.
Does he? Every tweet Joe Rogan say, Nick's here, and he's got the old ice cream scoop for you. Do it. You're letting people down. Show them the money. There it is. Look at that.
Yeah, no, it's
So
a wake up the
proud of
python.
you.
gotta
So
slap it.
proud of you.
Okay. But so they. I can talk forever on this because I literally just read this book, but I'm not quite done with it yet. So before I go on the actual diet, I need to finish it and kind of understand how it works. But yeah, it really does challenge the idea that like that an excessive amount of carbs is good for you. And again, he cites that there's different levels of people who are tolerant to carbohydrates, right?
Sure.
And if I had to look at it, I have never been tested, but I would guess that my body is severely carb intolerant. Like I don't have a tolerance for it. When I eat, it goes straight to fat. My body doesn't burn it very effectively. My body does better with proteins and good fats and vegetables and minerals and nutrients like that. So that's what I'm playing around with. But again, you don't have to go that granular with it. When you walk in, for now, if you want, like, how much weight do you realistically want to lose?
I want to lose like 25 pounds.
25 pounds.
Yeah.
That's a serious amount of weight.
I mean, again, if it happens, it happens. I ain't trying to get too crazy about it.
I would start with logging every meal and trying to stay under and trying to create a calorie deficit. So you need about, I think it's 3,500 calories per pound that you want to lose. So you need to create a deficit per week of 3,500 calories if you want to lose 1 pound. Start with that, and then add in maybe a daily walk. 20 minutes, you burn maybe 100, 150 calories, which will help with that calorie deficit so you can eat a little bit more. And make sure you're
adding a 1.5 minute run.
There you go. Although on a lot of diets, like
I'm just saying run for the 1.5 minutes and then walk until you got your breath back and run a little bit.
I do that.
Okay.
So, but not for that long. But
sure.
I do it for as long as I physically can.
Well, just be
see, that's
careful.
The problem.
Also.
I remember a long time ago in high school or whatever when I was doing push-ups or some shit. And a friend's like, "Oh, how many do you?" I'm like, "I don't count them. I just go till my muscles get tired." He's like, "That's the point. That's the point of exercise. You're supposed to push through that, right?" Or am I wrong on that?
No. Don't push through muscle.
That's what I was based on.
Well, I mean, that's the whole point of that's your muscle.
Take a breath. Take a breath and go.
Yeah, but when you go to like the idea is you do every set till close to, if not up to, muscle failure. And then take a breath and do it again. And that way...
I'm talking about I did 9 push-ups and I'm like, oh, I'm tired. I'm done. I get up and walk away. I don't mean I'm fucking there for 30 minutes.
I mean, to
roll on the ground like a slug. I can't move my arms.
You're like, somebody get me up. Somebody pick me up. You're like,
just screaming. Jamie Kennedy tried to open the door to see what's wrong in there.
So yeah, I mean, this is one of those things like, when I started doing yoga, for instance, right? And this happens every time I go back because I don't do it often enough now to really be like really, really, really good at it. You do notice that like you can't do it as well, but that's why you work up to it. Don't go balls to the wall. I wouldn't put on your running shoes and sprint for 5 minutes because you're going to probably pull something.
Yeah. I bought running shoes though.
Nice. Nike Freeze?
Of course.
Yeah.
5s.
But, just jog. Just start with the jog and see where you're at. Don't go hard. Just pick a milestone.
So,
listen, put a podcast on or some music on. I'm just going to jog for 10 minutes and see what happens.
Bought the shoes maybe 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Only ran once.
Okay.
We've been busy. That's the other thing.
Sure.
Shit happens and like whatever. And I have a million other excuses. But
gotta get rid of those.
I ran.
Stuff your excuses in a sec.
First 30 seconds, I'm like, I got this shit.
Yeah.
Running, you my bitch. 30 seconds later, I'm like, oh my God. Holy shit. It starts burning. My throat is just like, this is how it feels.
Sure.
That was a hot sound. Yeah.
Sure.
That's your body's way of saying, what is this?
Yeah.
I don't understand this. But you will, like you could work up to a point where you feel good and where it's good for your body. And you can start to add to it with every run. And if you have that mentality or, if you want to space it out with some other stuff, you can go climbing with Kevin and various things like that.
Be part of the climbing community.
But I will say that like, it sucks while you're doing it. It always does. Because the first time you do anything fucking sucks. Just get through that first one and then go back the next day. And then I guarantee on that second day, you'll walk out of there and you'll feel a little happier. You'll feel a little bit better about yourself. Because it releases those endorphins. It releases those happy chemicals in your brain where you're like, feel good about myself, right? And the next day after the store just breaks, you're like, I can fucking I feel like I could rip this table apart if I wanted to. I could Hulk out on
Well, it's got like the little video game thing. It's like level progression. Well, the next time you get a little XP, and the next time you go a little bit further, a little bit further.
Yeah, the only shitty thing is when you wait longer, then you go back down, and then you go.
Oh, sure. Well, that's why it's like, it's very much the challenge of.
Yeah.
It's like stopping an RPG, coming back like a couple weeks later.
Oh yeah,
you don't know
you can't remember what you're doing. Yeah, it's a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
You don't want that.
I'm definitely into it. The goal is I want to crowd surf at Kind of Funny Live. So whatever can make that happen.
Pretty sure they could do that even right now.
I know, but like I want to make it easier for them.
Okay.
So.
You don't want to crush Amy Gills.
Everyone out there that's coming to Kind of Funny Live, you also need to start working out.
Just your upper body.
Yeah, legs help with lifting too.
Yeah,
if you're
whatever
lifting
you need
like
to
this,
do.
you have to have good leg muscles and torso and upper torso muscles. It's the whole thing. It's a whole body thing. Can't just do the arms.
I think that'll be fine.
See, I just raised with the legs.
You raise me up.
Anyway, that's my cheap 2 cents on proper nutrition and
that was
exercising.
Cheap 2 cents.
Sorry,
quality.
I'm gonna work with an actual doctor or nutritionist.
Okay, good.